Sherry Hauser had her pet Chihuahua Chalupa for 18 years. She loved Chalupa, and when he died, she was devastated. She didn't know what to do.
I couldn't cremate him and I couldn't bury him. I didn't have the heart. And he was like one of my kids. And I didn't want to give him up, and this was a second chance.
Hauser heard about a process where your deceased pet is freeze-dried. It's a process that preserves your pet and keeps it looking like, well, like it's still alive.
The freeze-dry process, you actually remove all the moisture from tissue and preserve it.
Chuck Rupert owns and operates Second Life Freeze Dry. Once your deceased pet goes through the process, it will look as healthy as ever, forever. And for some pet owners, that means the world. Just ask Lisa Martin. She's an over-the-road truck driver who never left without Kitty by her side. Well, she lost Kitty earlier this year after it was hit by a car, but now she has him back.
He followed me around from room to room, and he was always with me. And he went with me in the truck over the road for 8 years.
The key is to keep the pet frozen until it gets to Second Life, where it remains frozen.
I get them propped or posed in whatever position the owner and I talk about.
Then it's put into a special freezing vessel.
What this machine does is it holds them at a very low temperature. I usually start the process at -5 or -10 degrees Fahrenheit. And they stay there for at least 2 to 3 weeks when you first start something up, because that's when the small things are getting set, the eyes and the ears. And then as you see ice production start to slow, there's a vacuum there. Vacuum causes the moisture to be pulled out of those, and it's reconstituted as ice in a condensing chamber.
The vacuum causes the moisture to be pulled out of the animal's tissue. Now, this prevents the animal from shriveling up. At that point, the temperature is bumped up 2 degrees at a time, a maximum of 10 degrees. One thing to keep in mind, this is not taxidermy.
In traditional taxidermy work, not to get into the bloody details, but you basically tear everything apart. You take the hide off the animal and you put it on a form. And there are, a dozen forms for a coyote, a dozen forms for this animal or the next.
The process takes up to 6 months, depending on the size of the animal, but when it's ready to come out of the freeze-dried chamber...
It looks great. I think he wants to get up and move. That's how good he looks.
And Hauser has plans for Chalupa.
First, he's going to go do some visiting. There's girls at the bank that want to see him. The vet that took care of him wants to see him. There's quite a few people that would like to see him. And then I'm going to put him in his special spot on my bed where he always laid. And that's where he's going to stay.
Say he used to spoon me in bed. I think I'm going to sleep with him.
It gives them comfort. The idea that they lost their pet, but yet they're coming back.
It can cost anywhere from $650 to $850, depending on the size of your cat or dog. Larger animals can cost up to several $1,000s. Money, some say, is well spent. David Belmondo, JET24 Action News.